This is a reading from the diary of Saint Gemma Galgani. Tuesday, August 21st. I may perhaps be wrong, but today I await a little visit from Brother Gabriel, and if this is true, I have a lot to talk about with him. Jesus, give light. Give light not to me, but to Father Germanus and to my confessor. Wednesday, August 22nd. Yesterday, my guardian angel informed me that in the course of the day, Jesus would come. He yelled at me, called me conceited, but then we made up quickly. I did not think further about Jesus' visit because I did not believe it. But in getting ready for evening prayers, I felt in union with Jesus, who instantly reproached me sweetly, saying, Gemma, don't you want any more? Don't you want me any more? Oh my God, I answered. What do you mean? I don't seek you? I desire you everywhere. I want you. I seek you always. I yearn only for you. Then right away, it came to my mind to ask him, but Jesus, you came tonight, so that means you won't come tomorrow night. He promised me that he would, but my confessor told me that my conscience would be responsible if I suffered and then did not feel well. If I feel well, I may suffer the usual hour with Jesus. If not, let Jesus come anyway, but without making me suffer. I may stay with him and have compassion for him and take part with him in the deathly sadness he suffered in the Garden of Olives. Anyway, I shall obey. Jesus also spoke to me, without my bringing it up, of the holy soul of Mrs. Giuseppina Imperiali. Oh, how dear she is to me, Jesus repeated. See, he added, how much she suffers without a moment of peace. Happiness to her. He left me with an ineffable sense of consolation, as usual. For the grace of Jesus and for his infinite mercy, my guardian angel does not leave me for even a tiny second. Yesterday, I saw several angels. Mine assisted me continuously, and I saw another for another person. And here, there certainly is no need to record further all the details. If obedience should require it, I shall be ready. But for now, that is enough. If necessary, I shall remember. Thursday, August the 23rd. Alas, evening comes and the usual coldness, the usual repugnance assails me. Fatigue would want to win over me, but with a little effort, I never want to neglect to do my duty. Tonight, Jesus placed his crown on my head at about 10 o'clock, after I had been collected for a little while. My suffering, which in no way equals Jesus's, was very strong. Even all my teeth hurt. Any movement brought a sharp pain. I thought I could not resist, but instead I did. Everything went well. I offered those little penances for sinners, and in particular for my poor soul. I begged him to return soon. When he was about to leave, a contest sprang up between me and Jesus, which of us would be the first to visit. And I went first, to Holy Communion. And together we said, and we agreed, that I would go to him, and he would come to me. He promised me the assistance of my holy angel, and he left me. Friday, August 24th. Later, Jesus returned to take back his crown, but he came very early, saying I had already done a lot, and since I did not want to, because I did not keep it the usual number of hours, he answered that I was still little, and this is more than enough. I suffered continually for several hours. Jesus caressed me a lot. At a certain point in our discussion, I asked enlightenment for my confessor. On that point, my guardian angel had tattled on Jesus. The morning before, he had told me how Father Germanus is enlightened about me and how he cares for me. I mentioned this to Jesus without thinking, and Jesus did not know that my guardian angel had told me this. He made a serious face and told me he did not want my guardian angel to tattle on him. While he was talking in this way, instead of being speechless, as happens when Jesus becomes serious or severe, I was taken, on the contrary, with more intimacy toward him, and I asked, Jesus, could you not... I kept quiet, thinking to make myself understood without speaking further, and Jesus did understand instantly and responded, Do not be afflicted, my daughter. We will make use of Father Germanus soon enough. Do you understand? He asked. Yes, I answered, and at the end he repeated these words, Fear not, because soon we will use him. He raised his hand goodbye and disappeared. Still later, I went to the church for the usual blessing, but I felt tired. In fact, I truly was, but it is not, as I've said many times, true tiredness. It is laziness, a lack of desire to pray. My guardian angel whispered in my ear that I should pray even while sitting. At first, I could not give in, but insisted a second time, and so, for obedience, I remained sitting. For sure, I was pleased about this, since I was unable to stay on my knees. Last night, he also made me understand that when Jesus complains about me because I do not do my meditation, he does not mean Thursday and Friday. He means the other days of the week. In fact, it's true, because on those 2 days, I never forget. I promised to be more conscientious, and he ordered me to bed, saying I was tired, and I had to sleep. I urged him to stay with me, but he made no promise, and in fact, he did not stay. Now then, I said to him, run to Jesus and plead with him, because tomorrow evening I must go to confession, and I need to see him. And he instantly responded, and if Brother Gabriel should come? That would be the same, I answered. Either Jesus or Brother Gabriel, one way or another. I need a visit. Beg him to concede me this grace. I need it. Can you tell me? He asked. As for you, I responded, go to Jesus and tell him everything, and then return and tell me. He nodded yes. He had spoken to me a few minutes ago about Brother Gabriel, and as always, even just hearing about him made me happy all over, so I could not refrain from exclaiming, Brother Gabriel, how long I have been waiting him, how much I desire him. Just so, because you have such a strong desire, Jesus does not want to satisfy you. Then, laughing, he instructed me that when Jesus came, I should not let him know that I had a desire to see Brother Gabriel, in which case Jesus would grant me my wish easily. I realized he was kidding, because I know nothing can be hidden from Jesus. Show indifference, he repeated, and you will see that Jesus will send him more often. I won't be able to do that, I said. I'll teach you. You have to talk like this to Jesus. If he comes, fine. If not, it's all the same. And in saying this, he laughed heartily. So I also repeated the phrase, but I understood that he was having fun. He ordered me to bed, saying I had to stay alone that night because if he stayed, I would never get to sleep. And he left. It's true, because when he's there, I do not sleep. He teaches me so many things about heaven, and the night passes quickly, very quickly. But last night was not like that. He left me alone, and I slept, although I did awake several times, and instantly he said, sleep. Otherwise, I'm going away for real. I heard loud thunderclaps, very loud, and I was afraid, so he came and made himself visible. He blessed me once again, and I went back to sleep. Saturday, August 25th. During communion this morning, no consolation. I did everything coldly. Let the holy will of my God be done. What will happen today? Jesus is not coming, and I don't even feel him nearby. I go to bed and I see a guardian angel approaching, whom I recognize to be mine, but I was overtaken with a bit of fear and an internal disquiet. So many times, fear assails me when I see someone appear, but little by little this passes and ends in consolation. Yesterday, instead, my disquiet grew until if someone touched me, I shook, something that never happens to me when it is truly my dear angel. In short, I was uncertain about this when he asked me, when are you going to confession? This evening, I answered. And why? Why do you go so often? Don't you know that your confessor is a swindler? Then I understood what was happening here, and I made the sign of the cross several times. He struck me so severely that I shook. My angel never speaks to me this way. The combat lasted in this way for a long while, and I promised that, in spite of him, I would go to confession, and in fact I went. I called Jesus and my mom. But what? No one. After a while, my real guardian angel appeared, obliging me to confess every detail, and he specified 2 things to tell my confessor. Distress and fear of the enemy vanished quickly, and I calmed down until it was time to go to confession. I didn't want to go for anything. With effort, I went, but I was able to say very, very little. But I do want to tell everything, so I will write. Last night, my beloved mother came, but her visit was so short. Nevertheless, it consoled me greatly. I prayed to her as much as I could on my own behalf, that she take me to heaven, and I also prayed fervently for other matters. How she smiled when I repeatedly called her mom. She came near, caressed me, and left me in the company of my guardian angel, who remained joyful and cheerful until morning. Sunday, August 26th. In the morning, after I left my room, he also left. I received Holy Communion without knowing anything of Jesus. During the morning, I felt such a strong wish to cry that I had to hide myself out of the sight of others so they wouldn't notice. My soul felt uneasy, and I did not know what to rely on. My God, how shall I begin to describe it? But it's for the best, because if this notebook of mine should fall into people's hands, They will recognize in me nothing other than a disobedient, bad person. Yesterday, while eating, I raised my eyes and saw my guardian angel looking at me with an expression so severe I was frightened. He did not speak. Later, when I went to bed for a moment, my God, he commanded me to look him in the face. I looked, and then almost immediately I lowered my gaze, but he insisted and said, "Aren't you ashamed to commit sins in my presence? You certainly feel ashamed after you commit them." He insisted I look at him. For more than half an hour, he made me stay in his presence, looking him in the face. He gave me some very stern looks. I did nothing but cry. I commended myself to my God, to our mother, to get me out of there because I could not resist much longer. Every so often he repeated, "I am ashamed of you." I prayed that others would not see him in that state because then no one would ever come near me. I don't know if others saw him. I suffered for an entire day, and whenever I lifted my eyes, he always looked at me sternly. I could not collect myself for even a minute. That evening I said my prayers anyway, and he was always there watching me with the same expression. He let me go to bed, but he did bless me. He never abandoned me. He stayed with me for several hours without speaking and always stern. I never did have the courage to speak a word to him. I only said, "My God, what shame if others could see my angel so angry." There was no way I could sleep last night. I was awake until after 2 o'clock. I know because I heard the clock strike. I stayed in bed, not moving, my mind turned to God, but without praying. Finally, after the clock struck 3, I saw my guardian angel approaching. He placed his hand on my forehead and said these words, "Sleep, bad girl." I saw him no more. Monday, August 27th. This morning I received Holy Communion. I hardly had the courage to receive it. Jesus seemed to let me know a little about why my guardian angel was acting this way. I had made my last confession badly. Unfortunately, this was true. Tuesday, August the 28th. My guardian angel remained very stern until this morning, after I revealed everything to my confessor. Upon my exiting the confessional, he looked at me happily with an air of kindness. I returned from death to life. Later he spoke to me on his own. I did not have the courage to question him. He asked me how I was, because I was not feeling well the night before. I answered that only he could cure me. He came near me, caressed me again and again, and said I should be good. Repeatedly, I asked him if he loved me as much as before, and if he loved me despite everything. He answered in this way, "Today, I am not ashamed of you. Yesterday, I was." I asked many times for forgiveness, and he indicated that I was forgiven for every past action. Finally, I sent him to Jesus for 3 things. 1, if he was happy with me now. 2, if he had forgiven everything. 3, that he should rid me of this shame so that I could be obedient to my confessor. He went away instantly and returned very late. He said Jesus was very happy that he has forgiven me, but for the last time, as to the shame, he said Jesus responded with these exact words, "Tell her to obey perfectly." Later, then, I went to bed, and after a little while I felt some remorse. I was thinking, it's true, on the subject of a meditation on the Passion, but in bed. My guardian angel asked what I was thinking about. About the Passion, I answered. What will Jesus say about me, who leads such an easy life, praying little and in bed? In short, all my time in prayer I spend in bed. Unfortunately, all this is true. He answered by asking what I thought. It is laziness. I responded, but I promised that from the evening on I would never again pray in bed, except for the day that I was supposed to, out of obedience. Last evening and for the whole night he never left me, but with an agreement I must be quiet and sleep. I did it. Wednesday, August 29th. Today there's one thing I shall do. I want to write a little note to Brother Gabriel. Then I will give it to my guardian angel and await a reply. And we're going to do this without Jesus knowing. He himself said he will not tell Jesus anything. And I did it. I wrote a very long letter. I spoke of all my experiences without leaving out anything. Then I asked my guardian angel that it was ready, and if he wanted to. This evening, Wednesday, I placed it under my pillow, and this morning when I got up, I didn't think about checking because I had better things in mind. I was going to Jesus. Thursday, August 30th. As soon as I returned, I looked, and how odd. The letter wasn't there anymore. I say odd because I heard from others that this is a strange happening. But to me, it doesn't seem so. My guardian angel then asked me if I needed an answer. I laughed. What else? I told him. Of course I need one. All right, he said, but until Saturday you can't have one. Patience until Saturday, then. In the meantime, here I am at Thursday evening. Oh God, all my sins are paraded before me. What an enormity. Yes, all of you should know, my life until now has been a continuous series of sins. Always, I see their great quantity and the malicious intent with which I committed them, especially when Thursday evening approaches. They parade before me in a manner so frightening that I become ashamed and unbearable even to myself. So, especially that evening, I make resolutions and repent continuously, but then I keep none of them and return to my usual ways. A little strength, a little courage comes to me when I feel Jesus at the hour when he places the crown of thorns on me and makes me suffer until Friday evening, because this I offer for sinful souls, especially my own. This is how things went yesterday evening. Thursday, I thought Jesus would do as usual that evening. He placed the crown of thorns on my head, the cause of so much pain for my beloved Jesus, and left it there for several hours. It made me suffer a little, but when I say suffer, I mean take pleasure. It is a pleasure, that suffering. How he was afflicted, and the cause, the many sins committed, and the many ungrateful souls whom he assists, only to receive in return exactly the opposite. Of this ingratitude, how much I feel guilty myself. For sure, Jesus must have spoken of me. My guardian angel warned me that the hour allowed to me for obedience had ended. What to do? Jesus would have stayed longer, but he saw clearly the embarrassing situation I found myself in. I reminded myself about obedience, and for obedience I should have sent Jesus away, because the hour was up. Come on, said Jesus, give me a sign now that you will always obey. So I exclaimed, Jesus, you can go away because now I don't want you anymore. And Jesus smiled as he blessed me, along with all the members of the Sacro Collegio, and he commended me to my guardian angel, and left me so happy that I cannot express myself. As usual that night, I cannot sleep because I'm united with Jesus, united more closely than usual, and also because I think my head aches a bit. I kept vigil together with my beloved angel. Friday, August 31st. In the morning I ran to receive Holy Communion, but I could not say anything. I just stayed in silence. The pain in my head impeded me. My God, how much I lack in this. Jesus held back nothing on my behalf, while I instead, in order not to suffer, avoid making even the slightest movement if I can. What would you say, my Jesus, about this laziness and ill will? All morning I did nothing but rest. Day came, and effortlessly I flew to Jesus. He lifted the thorns and asked if I had suffered much. Oh, my Jesus, I exclaimed, the suffering begins now because you go away. Yesterday and today I took much pleasure because I felt close to you, but from now on until you return it will truly be constant suffering for me. I implored him, come, my Jesus, come more often. I will be good. I will always obey everyone. Make me happy, Jesus. I suffered as I spoke this way because little by little Jesus was leaving me. Finally, after a short while, he left me alone, once again in the usual state of abandonment. Toward evening, I went to confession, and the confessor, believing I was not feeling well because I had been suffering some, ordered me to go to bed. As soon as I entered my room, and he ordered me to sleep without speaking with my guardian angel, because sometimes we would talk for hours on end, and that I should sleep. I went to bed, but I could not fall asleep out of the curiosity I had. I wanted to ask my guardian angel so many things, and I waited for him to speak on his own. But no way, all he told me was to go to sleep several times. Finally, I fell asleep. Saturday, September the 1st. This morning, on his own, he awakened me early and said that today I would have an answer. How? I asked. You will see, he said, laughing. For all of today, I stayed without any temptations. Toward evening, one suddenly came over me, in the ugliest manner. But here I don't think it would be good to tell, because it's too... Who would have imagined that my beloved mother would come to see me? I wasn't even thinking about it, because I believed my bad conduct wouldn't allow it. But she took pity on me, and in a short time I felt collected. Following this collection, as so often happened, my head took off. I found myself, I thought, with Our Lady of Sorrows. What happiness in those moments. How dear to pronounce the name Mom. What sweetness I felt in my heart to those moments. Let whoever is able to explain it. It seemed to me after a few minutes of commotion that she took me in her lap and made me rest my head on her shoulder, keeping me there a while. My heart in that moment was filled with happiness and contentment. I could desire nothing more. Do you love no one but me? She asked from time to time. Oh no, I answered. I love someone else even more than you. And who is that? She asked, pretending not to know. It's a person who is most dear to me, more than anything else. I love him so much I could give up my life this very instant because of him. I no longer care about my body. But tell me who he is, she asked impatiently. If you had come the evening before, you would have seen him staying with me. But you see, he comes to me very rarely, while I go to him every day. And I would go even more often if I could. But do you know, dear mother, I said, why he does this? Because he wants to see whether at so great a distance I might become capable of not loving him anymore. Instead, the further away he is, the more I feel drawn to him. She repeated, tell me who he is. No, I won't tell you, I responded. You should see, dear Mom, how his beauty resembles yours. Your hair is the same color as his. And it seems my mom was caressing me as she said, but my daughter, who are you talking about? And I exclaimed loudly, don't you understand me? I'm talking about Jesus, I repeated even more loudly. She looked at me smiling and she hugged me tightly to her. Go ahead and love him very much, but love only him. Don't be afraid, I said. No one in the world shall taste my affections, only Jesus. She hugged me again and it seemed like she kissed me on the forehead. I awoke and found myself on the floor with the crucifix nearby. Whoever reads these things, I repeat again, should not believe, because they are all my imagination. Nevertheless, I agree to describe everything because I am bound by obedience. Otherwise, I would do differently. I believe that from day to day, the repugnance I experience in writing certain things would finally cease. But instead, it always increases. It is a punishment such that I cannot withstand. I almost die from it. Sunday, September 2nd. Tonight I slept with my guardian angel by my side. Upon awakening, I saw him next to me. He asked me where I was going. To Jesus, I answered. The rest of the day went very well. But my God, toward evening, what happened? My guardian angel got serious and stern. I could not figure out the reason, but he, from whom nothing can be hidden, in a stern tone, at the moment when I started to recite my usual prayers, asked me what I was doing. I'm praying. Who are you waiting for? Becoming yet more serious. Without thinking, I said, Brother Gabriel. Upon hearing me pronounce these words, he started to yell at me, saying I was waiting in vain, just as I could wait in vain for the response, because... And here I remembered 2 sins I had committed during the day. My God, what sternness! He pronounced these words more than once. I'm ashamed of you. I will end up by not coming to you anymore, and maybe, who knows, if even tomorrow. And he left me in that state. He made me cry so much. I want to ask forgiveness. But when he is that angry, there is no way he wants to forgive. Monday, September 3rd. I did not see him again that night, nor this morning. Today he told me to adore Jesus, who was alone, and then he disappeared again. This evening it was much better than the evening before. I asked him many times for forgiveness, and he seemed willing to forgive me. Tonight he stayed with me constantly. He repeated that I should be good and not give further disgust to our Jesus. And when I am in his presence, I should try to be better. And that is the end.